Contained in this Pirith is the quality that is looked forward to by averting all calamities and eliminating all suffering, fear, and illness, by attaining long life, resources, and health. The supreme purpose of requesting the recitation of Pirith is this high aspiration. The power of joining together with external helpful Dharma, supporting practices, and internal helpful Dharma, inner virtues, helps fully realize the hopes placed beneath the Pirith for the prevention of calamities, for the provision of all resources, and for the removal of all suffering. The auspicious standard protective chant, Pirith, is to be recited. In the second repetitions, instead of sabbe dukkha vināsa, one may say sabbe bhaya vināsa, destruction of all fear for the removal of all fear, and sabbe roga vināsa, destruction of all disease for the removal of all illness. This is the tradition by which the great Sangha, proficient in giving Pirith sermons, are invited by devotees in a manner consistent with discipline. Though no specific canonical sutta exists in which the term Pirith is used to denote external supportive Dharma, the elders collected various suttas, which the Blessed One compassionately declared when encountering occasions of illnesses, suffering, etc., and set them as Pirith. The vast compassion of the Tathagata to dispel suffering and bring benefits to beings in the world is captured even in a word such as this in the Recitations. That compassionate power, as on that day, continues even now to relieve beings of suffering and grant them resources. These Pirith suttas contain the pure Dharma of the Blessed One. Among the virtues beneficial to human beings, and the unchanging truths such as the Four Noble Truths and the sublime Dharma are also included. The stupendous qualities of the jewel doctrine spoken by the Buddha are inherent in them. Over more than 2,500 years, because of this pure Dharma, the world has enjoyed tremendous peace. Countless beings have attained supreme blessedness by relinquishing all suffering. The power of this pure Dharma has not diminished today. It is possible to again eliminate all suffering through it. If so, what need is there to speak of the removal of ordinary afflictions? Therefore, the true Dharma power in this Pirith continues to be upheld. The recitation Appamano Buddho, Appamano Dhammo, Appamano Sangho, unlimited is the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, is recited, and the qualities of the triple gem Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha are infinite, immeasurable. Even hearing the virtues of the Buddha leads innumerable beings to be freed from the suffering of samsara. Some, without extraordinary attainments, even ascend to the sky by virtue of that power. That power of Buddha virtue still exists now without diminution. The virtues of Dhamma and Sangha likewise. The sublime power of that immaculate jewel doctrine remains in this Pirith. Bodhicitta and the mind of loving-kindness are ordained for the bhikkhus who give Pirith. Because of great loving-kindness and friendliness in mind, they are appointed to give Pirith sermons. In the past, in the great city of Mahanawara, Anuradhapura, the land and people were saved from 3 great calamities, famine, disease, and hostility, through the practice of Pirith sermons. The ones who preached the Pirith, as the Blessed One ordained, were the Ananda Mahanayakas. Walking around the whole city, reciting Pirith day and night, because of their compassion, reflecting on that condition of that time, one can understand how compassionate it was. At any time, bhikkhus who are to recite Pirith are enjoined as Vasalya Tisu, Pakarantare Sutiyam Paritam Karantu, Ayasma Ananda Thirovia, Karunachittam Upatapatva. That is, like the Venerable Anandathera, who recited Pirith in the triple gateway of Vesali, Vasalya Tisu Pakara, they should preside over it with compassionate, friendly mind. Thus, in this Pirith, the power of the loving kindness and compassion of virtuous, disciplined bhikkhus is upheld. Through compassion and friendliness, in every sutta they recite, they produce true speech. Itena sachavajana, soti teho tu sabada. By this true word, may you always be well. From truthful action, there is a wondrous power. Through truthful speech, truthful hearing, if disputations cease, wise ones are taught truth. Through truth, the body is freed, peace arises, nibbana is attained. King Mahakapina, upon meeting the great Ganges and journeying across the land, came by the power of that truth action. Through the true word, even deadly poison may be neutralized. After the king was served poison, the innocent prince fell unconscious. Coming to the dying prince were his noble and virtuous parents. By the power of true speech, the poison was entirely removed, and the prince regained his original mindfulness. By the true word, even rain may be caused to fall. The great king Siri Sambhaho and other virtuous monarchs caused rain to fall by the power of truth, as recorded in history. Those who abide in truth pray for nirvana. Though slight faults may arise through forgetfulness, it is the law of bodhisattvas who never intentionally speak falsehoods to act in accordance with the truth. I prayer placed on truth. All the suffering of samsara may be passed through in supreme bliss, nirvana attained. If ordinary diseases vanish, is it necessarily difficult to achieve health? May the virtuous bhikkhus, who, with compassion and friendliness, proclaim the true Dharma of the Blessed One, bring you ease of mind, peace, freedom from sickness. May long life, health, and wealth be yours. When one acts by truth, there is no benefit withheld. Thus, the power of truthful action in this Pirith continues without diminution. The Buddhist teachings state that devas dwell in palaces and great trees, and human beings live under their protection. It is customary to invite devas to listen to Pirith before the recitation begins. The devas with right view are very pleased to hear it. Thus, one may inform one's protective deity, Mahayaksha, etc., invite them to attend so that when Pirith is recited, the protective deities attend, and malign spirits and such depart. Therefore, in response, devas bring the donors who support the recitation blessings and deliver resources to them. So from external assistance arises helpful dharma in conjunction with the Pirith. Even if one takes these few points and reflects, one understands how calamities are dispelled and resources granted. The internal helpful dharma is the quickening of the mind, manasakara, mindfulness, upatita sati, and 8 supporting mental factors, Dhamma, which help one through the mind's nimbleness. The speed of the mind is extremely swift. There is no simile to measure it. To the ordinary ear, the action that seems most rapid is lightning. The mind's velocity is more powerful. In the split of an instant, many thoughts may arise. Those thoughts do not arise casually, but in accord with purposes, swiftly traversing paths. If this is so for 1 hour, or 1 day, or 1 lifetime, how many thoughts may arise? In each mental pathway arises one or more wholesome or unwholesome or neutral consciousness, jhavana. Before those arise, a volitional mind door, manodvara or voltapana, acts. If the mental attention and mindfulness are present, wholesome jhavana occur. If inattention and laxity are present, unwholesome jhavana occur. Among these 7 jhavana, the first is extremely weak as it lacks attraction. If a resultant arises, it is exclusively within that very life. The 7th jhavana, strongly influenced by attraction, gives strong result in this or next existence. The 6th gives a result in the next birth. If result cannot arise, it is cancelled. In the remainder of the jhavana, up to the point when nirvana is realized, the power to produce result persists. The number of karmic processes collected in one life is inconceivable. Over the unbeginningless time one wanders in samsara, how many karmic accumulations have occurred? Thus, in every king there is potential for poverty, and in every beggar potential for kingship. Likewise, the potential for short life and disease, and the potential for long life and health are gathered. Just as the drone bee passes through impurity to fragrance, the beings who do unwholesome karma in past lives, or wholesome karma, bring their results into the present. When one listens to Pirith with faith and wisdom, one's mind becomes peaceful, contented, and endowed with knowledge. One's heart embraces the hope that by the power of this Pirith, all calamities may be dispelled, and longevity, wealth, and health may increase. Because the mind is so swift, within an hour of listening to Pirith with faith and wisdom, how many wholesome thoughts may arise? Considering that the mental pathways are countless, suppose as many as 10,000. In each pathway, the first jhavana has the capacity to produce a result. Although weak, even many weak ones, combined, create tremendous force. That first jhavana group clears the path for future operation of result from past. Unwholesome kama. During samsaric wandering, the strength of wholesome kama, capable of dispelling calamities and bringing resources, is limited. Therefore, in this moment one's resolve to dispel ills and gain blessings helps to bring forward that kamic strength from the past. No matter how much power is in the Pirith, if the listener has no confidence, the proper virtue is not gained. Even if there is faith, but during the sermon one is distracted, careless or inattentive, the proper virtue is not obtained. Even if faith and devout listening are present, but a powerful unwholesome kama arises, the proper effect of the Pirith may not occur. Why is Pirith beloved to be heard? Among beings, there are many praises, lovely sounds. What is pleasing to one may not be to another. Some may find certain sounds dearest, others unpleasant. But the sound of Pirith may be said to be uniformly agreeable, to all equally beloved. It is said that when the Blessed One once spent a week giving Dharma sermons on one sutta, on the first day a huge gathering came. On the second day the crowd was smaller, on the third still smaller. By the seventh day only the donors and the preachers remained. The preachers delivered the sermon wonderfully, clearly, but if the same Dhamma had continued 7 days, public affection would not necessarily diminish. If Pirith recitation is proclaimed for the 7th day, on the first day large crowds would come, second day more, and by the 7th day the number would be so great that some could not get close. The preachers did not ever choose a single word. Listeners did not understand it, yet their delight was such that it cannot be told. The Pirith is beloved not only by humans, but even by devas. In any country, it is loved by Buddhists and non-Buddhists alike. The main reason Pirith is beloved is that it is spoken in the Buddha's language. Though Dhamma sermons may use other languages, Pirith remains in the Buddha's words, unaltered in any context by any preacher. The power of properly arranged letters is great. When letters are recited in one way, listeners' eyes may redden. In another way, tears of joy may flow. Some may not believe it. But in poetry, incantations, etc., the power of letter arrangement and numerical arrangement is present, though it may be customary to recite verses before deities to please them. Once a proper poetic incantation is established, it becomes widely known. How does Pirith increase longevity? If recitation of Pirith increases lifespan, one might argue that repeated recitation could allow one to live many years beyond the normal term. Here, increase of life means not an additional life given, but that one lives out the life one was born to receive without interruption until its full term. The kama that gives birth to an animal is called the generating kama. All beings bring death with birth. The time period of life, ayus, includes that measure. If someone is born with the karma to live to, say, 60 or 70 or 80, no matter how much power is in the engine, one cannot exceed that natural lifespan. The same is true. Death may occur before the time. Even though one is born with a kama to live 80 years, obstacles may intervene through the force of oppressive kama, and death may happen. Based on that, knowledge of catastrophe, disease, and death is known, and knowledge of gaining resources, health, and longevity is known. If one acts with insight and mindfulness, one may fully live out the lifespan one was born with. Once there was a Brahmin, and he had a son. One day, his friend Talapasa visited his home and took away the boy. The Brahmin was told that the child would die within a week. He sought a remedy and was told to ask the Buddha. The Brahmin brought the child to the Blessed One. Knowing the child was about to die, the Brahmin asked if there was a way to save him. The Blessed One had a pavilion built, and the bhikkhus recited Pirith for a week. The Brahmin prepared the pavilion immediately. The Blessed One sent out the bhikkhus. The bhikkhus continued reciting Pirith uninterrupted. On the 7th day, the Buddha also worked. After the recitation ended, on the 8th morning, when the child was brought, the Buddha declared, "May he have long life." As a result, the boy lived to 122 years. Thus the boy was born with the karma to live that long. Yet because in samsara he committed unwholesome karmas, a yaksa attacked and threatened his life before then. But due to the power of Pirith and Buddha presence and the protective deities invited to attend, the yaksa could not approach. Thus the child was able to live out the full term of life. This raises the story of Chakra. Because Chakra fulfilled his lifespan, he went to pay homage to the Blessed One. When the Buddha uttered, "May he have long life," Chakra did not die, but regained his deity status. Though that happened momentarily, such birth and death not observed by others, no extension of the past lifespan took place. How is health obtained? Via Pirith. The reciting bhikkhus, through every sutta, pray, "Itena satcha vajyena sabbarogo vināsatu." By this true word may all disease be destroyed. Among lay people, monks endowed with sincerity, virtue, compassion, and devotion, the power of their prayer is great. If a stable-minded person in their midst sometimes says, "Mad, mad," it does not defame them. But when the truthful Dhamma is spoken, "May there be health, may there be health," by a virtuous group in truth, health arises wondrously. The faith and aspiration within one also help. As mentioned earlier, when listening to Pirith, wholesome mind states arise, pure dispositions. Through their power, the wholesome karmas of past lifetimes, those capable of granting health, are activated. Because of pure mind, the blood becomes pure, medicines take effect on the body, wellness comes quickly. Hence, illness heals, one becomes healthy. When the Blessed One was ill, Pirith was recited for him. Thus, he gave an example to the world. Since then, Buddhists continue the tradition of reciting Pirith when someone is ill. The power of words in Pirith is extremely high. Even if recited in an unfamiliar tongue, it is so beloved. Because the Buddha, with pure intention, gathered good, expressed it perfectly in letters, its power is intense. When the public gather for a festival, look at the faces of those present with care. The nature of the mind is visible on the face. Thus one can see from their faces what is within. Among those at a grand, joyous festival, not all are equally delighted. Among the most joyful, too, there is no perfect delight. They force smiles, show joy, yet their hearts may harbor greed, hatred, delusion, complacency, pride, envy, etc. Even those who come may show outwardly joyous laughter, but inwardly cannot attain full peace. Look at a crowd listening to Pirith. No false laughter is shown. And how joyful are they? One cannot find a person who is not inwardly glad. Even a seriously ill person listening to Pirith is filled with great joy. Let us consider why. The Buddha's radiant aura, Rama, light, is on his head, and Buddhists know of the radiant halo of the Tathagata. Some scholars may have doubts, but for the learned, none. Whether visible or invisible, all bodies emit rays. Scientists accept this. Examining someone's aura, they may reveal one's thoughts. The conventional truth in Dharma is thus confirmed. Thus scholars have no surprise at the halo of the Blessed One. Because of his supremely pure mind, the halo is extremely luminous. That radiance, like the moon's rays or sun's rays, touches others. From the minds of pure listeners comes pure radiance, peacefully. So those who have come toward the Tathagata feel delight. The bhikkhus giving Pirith, in their compassion and loving kindness, emanate such purity. At that time, the radiance from their bodies is supremely pure, peaceful. The listeners, established in the 5 precepts, with faith and devotion, attend the Pirith. Their bodies emit a gentle radiance. That radiance spreads everywhere. It enters the bodies of humans, permeates walls and houses. Thus, through the pure thoughts they generate, and through the external pure radiance, all who come to hear the Pirith experience immense joy, even after removing all implements from the place of recitation. For several days afterward, any visitor enters with a subtle feeling of tranquility. Because of the peaceful radiance permeating the surroundings, serenity arises in them. If one dwells quietly in that truth, one may fully perceive the veracity of this.